A promised land. Page 6. Usually, though, I just turn left, following the outer wall of the cabinet room, and slipping into the side door by the Oval Office, where I greeted my personal staff, grabbed my schedule and a cup of hot tea, and started the business of the day. Several times a week, I would step out onto the colonnade to find the groundskeepers, all employees of the National Park Service, working in the Rose Garden. They were older men, mostly, dressed in green khaki uniforms, sometimes matched with a floppy hat to block the sun, or a bulky coat against the cold. If I wasn't running late, I might stop to compliment them on the fresh plantings or ask about the damage done by the previous night's storm, and they'd explain their work with quiet pride. They were men of few words. Even with one another, they made their points with a gesture or a nod. Each of them focused on his individual task, but all of them moving with synchronized grace. One of the oldest was Ed Thomas, a tall, weary black man with sunken cheeks, who had worked at the White House for 40 years. The first time I met him, he reached into his back pocket for a cloth to wipe off the dirt, before shaking my hand. His hand, thick with veins and knots like the roots of a tree, engulfed mine. I asked how much longer he intended to stay at the White House before taking his retirement. "I don't know, Mr. President," he said. "I like to work, getting a little hard on the joints, but I reckon I might stay long as you're here. Make sure the garden looks good." Oh, how good that garden looked! The shady magnolias rising high at each corner, the hedges, thick and rich green, the crab apple trees pruned just so, and the flowers, cultivated in greenhouses a few miles away, providing a constant explosion of color, reds and yellows and pinks and purples. In spring, the tulips massed in bunches, their heads tilted toward the sun. In summer, lavender, heliotrope and geraniums and lilies. In fall, chrysanthemums and daisies and wildflowers. And always a few roses, red mostly but sometimes yellow or white, each one flush in its bloom. Each time I walked down the colonnade or looked out the window of the Oval Office, I saw the handiwork of the men and women who worked outside. They reminded me of the small Norman Rockwell painting I kept on the wall, next to the portrait of George Washington and above the bust of Dr. King. 5 tiny figures of varying skin tones. Working men in dungarees, hoisted up by ropes into a crisp blue sky, to polish the lamp of Lady Liberty. The men in the painting. That's the end of page 6. Press next button, or the next and screen for page 7.